Hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel with Caroline and Chris. So today we have a guest. We are going to discuss toxic relationships in campus, and let our guest introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Njura, a student at Maseno University, pursuing communication and media technology, and I'm really happy to be here today. Share the story.
Thank you. So today we saw it fit to have a perspective from at least one of them, because we've been giving opinions. Tunasema vile watoto wa campus wana date, they're rushing into things and such things.
So let me start by saying this. Being in campus is being in a new environment. Typically, like your whole life, you've been in enclosed places. This is primary school, you're with your parents, then high school is almost the same thing. Then you get to campus and you're all excited because it's freedom. Like boom, now I can rule myself, I can plan myself, I can do the things I want. But now the sad part is when there's too much freedom, there comes so much responsibility with that. And if you're not ready to take up this responsibility, then on a serious note, you're doomed to fail. Let me just use that word because I have seen most people come to campus with a very focused mind. This is what I want. Most of them come with a first class idea. I want to get a first class, I want to shape my life and all that. But in the middle of things, you just find yourself messed up. People fall into deep holes that you even look back and you're like, how did they get here? So talking about relationships, let me give my story kidogo, because for me it was like a very fast one. So I got into campus. This is like a week for the orientation. I actually went on the last day of orientation. So the first person I meet is a stranger, and this person is so friendly, and I'm like, fine, this is a new place, so I need to make friends. I make friends with a guy, and the next day he introduces me to his crew. So amongst his crew members, I spot this guy, and I'm like, okay, let me give it time. It didn't even take like another week. This is 3 days in, and we're very good friends. Very good friends. I'm like, this is campus. I mean, this is the freedom I wanted, you know. So it goes on like that, and a week later, oh, will you be my girlfriend? I'm like, this is exciting. Why not? Why not? So yes, and this is how the relationship began. So we went for the first party, and it was fine because at the same time you have protection, that sense of belonging, and but now things started getting really bad, and this is weird because it was the second week. Just on a Wednesday, and he tells me we are done. I'm like, hold up, it's not even a month in, we are done. Okay. So this was the first heartbreak I'm meeting. I'm like, hey, no, this can't be it. No. This can just be it. So this is a whole day of me being in my blankets, wondering what is going on. So I'm there like, I need to stop this. But now the guy goes, this is on Wednesday, and then on Friday he texts. He's like, I'm sorry, I wasn't in my right mind. Oh, I was afraid, I've never been in such commitments before. And I'm like, maybe I should understand. All right. So we get back together, and we're good for a couple of months. So like 2 months in, I realized I started having aimless flirting with different girls. And I'm not the kind of person to follow you around, so I just let it slide. I'm like, maybe they're just friends. But now this is where I went wrong, because the moment I started justifying his mistakes, that is where I started finding myself into some bad thoughts and probably stress. So it goes on like that. The next thing I know is we've planned a meeting on a certain afternoon, and I call him, and he tells me they are not yet done with their classes. But I'm at his friend's place, and it's like the room above his, and I saw him come in. So I wonder, okay, you're not done with your classes and you're in, all right. So I had left my specs there like the previous evening. I decided, let me just go for them and go to my place. Then I meet this girl, and the position they are in is quite fishy, and I'm like, I won't even ask anything. So I left. Immediately after I left, the nigga texts and he's like, you can't disrespect me in front of my friends, so we're done again. This is like the third time in less than 3 months. Alright. So by that time, I guess I was getting used to the pain. I'm like, he goes and comes back. which was actually another mistake, because getting used to something like that is not the best place to be. So I go talk to my friend. She's like, no, you need to leave this guy and everything. I'm like, but I love the guy. I really love this nigga. I don't know if I leave him, if I'll be able to make it. So we go on like that. It's a year of push and pull. The relationship is on and off until COVID happened. So when COVID happened is when I actually realized I was suffering like a great deal. Either I was falling into depression or I was just on chronic stress. So that time my self-worth is like below sea level. My self-esteem is gone. I'm just not a happy person anymore, because every time I'm listening to my thoughts, they're like, you know, it's right for you to live. But now there's a battle between my thoughts and my heart. I love this nigga, yes. But everything I'm going through is not what I'm supposed to be going through in a relationship. I'm not supposed to be sitting and wondering what is wrong with me. I'm not supposed to be sitting and wondering why isn't he the same person I met, you know. It's a day of tears, thoughts, depression, and all those things. So I even started I used to do poetry a lot. But during this relationship, it got to a point where I was like, I'm even losing interest in the things I loved. I love attending poetry shows. It got to a point I'm like, I'm too tired, let me just rest. So I'm like, something is totally off. So COVID came and we parted ways. I'm in Nakuru, he's in Meru, and then that is when things became clear. Because now the other chick used to even call me, she texts, insults. I just really don't like engaging in fights with people that we're not even friends or something. And if it's someone that you're used to, this is something different. This is someone I've never even interacted with, not on a personal level. So every time you call, it's either you're insulting or you're just having your issues. So I decided, let me just be the bigger person, I guess. And then the last time before I decided to leave this guy, the chick posted like a series of status on her WhatsApp. And I'm like, hold up, no, this is too much. This is like 6 months after COVID, and these guys are still together, very strong, but our relationship is like dead, because communication went off for like 3 months. Then he comes back and he's like, I'm sorry, I've been off, I've been busy and blah 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 blah. I'm like, you've been busy for 3 months. Wow.
Did you bait?
Wow. At that point, I think I was just fed up. I didn't even want to talk about it. So my mind had already moved on from it. Now I was struggling with my heart. You know, I was struggling from and learning how to love this guy, because
the heart wants what it wants.
This is the saddest part. You can't control your heart in most of the any situation. So at this point, we were supposed to go get our things from school. We were supposed to get things from the hostels and move them outside for them to do renovations. So I decided, let me just give him this last one. This is the last shot, but on my end I knew this was the last time we were together, and this is the last time we were talking or meeting. So we went to school, we took our things, and we stayed there for like 4 days. At the back of my mind, I'm very sure this is like the total goodbye. We are never going to be anything again. So I traveled back and I tell him this is actual goodbye. For him, he doesn't believe it, because I think he was too confident that this chick will never leave.
Because of the patterns, he come back as
and
he wishes.
It's okay, you know. So what even made it worse is alikuwa shy kabet na mabishto wake, this chick will never leave. I'm like, hold up, what? Nigga, you're that confident, like you're sure? I'm just stuck here. So that is actually what gave me the motivation to move on. Like, no, it's time for me to focus on myself. It's time for me to get back the person I was before I went to campus, because it was getting really bad. So from there on, I started like now even moving on myself, making new friends, going out and doing the things I used to do. I think that is how I actually managed to move on. Yeah, because I was in a very terrible place at that time. Even got to a place I used to just be irritated by nothing. I just sit, I'm like, something is wrong. So when I decided to move on finally, the nigga didn't believe it. So I post the new guy, he's like, you mean you moved on? You never even told me. I'm like, see, I thought we broke up. I told you we were done once you came back from school. He's like, no, I never thought it would happen this fast. What? I'm like, it was never that fast, because I never gave you any heads up of me moving on. I was always here. I was always like, it's fine, I love you and shit. So I moved on and that's it. But now the hardest part is when it comes to moving on from a toxic relationship. Because I think when you're in a toxic relationship, it's always a consistency of bad lows, bad low moments. But you're always holding up, waiting for that high moment, because that is like what gives you the strength to be there.
Like kadogo too.
Yeah.
That comes once in a while.
It doesn't even last me in you. It's like today we can go for an out, we go for an out and come back. And the next day things are back to normal. Mtu anakupea moods, anakujibu vile anataka, they're not even making time and all that. Or they just here for the convenience because they know you love them, so they take advantage of that. So moving on from that is like a big blow, because much as you know it was bad for you, you always look forward to those days and your heart will jump because you know you love this person. So when they reciprocate that, even if it's just for 10 seconds, you're like, at least there's some hope. So moving on from that is like the hardest part, because you always miss those days, because this is not someone you hated, this is someone you really loved. And again, creating a bond with someone new, like getting to that point, this person knows you well, this person knows your do's and don'ts, you know. It's always like a burden again. So before you get to that level with someone else, you always sit back and wish for what you left behind, and like maybe I could still manage a little longer, but it's really detrimental. Yeah, so I think
what made you stay knowing that there was another girl in the picture?
I think for me what made me stay was the fact that I actually loved this guy, and the hope for maybe something will change. I think when he comes back on the high days, he used to give me so much hope that I'm here, you know, things will get better. And then this guy was so good at manipulating. Trust me, this was a manipulator, because on those low days, he'll really make you feel like you don't even deserve anything on this earth. Then on the high days, he makes you feel like a queen, you know. He's like, you know, she's just a passing wind, these are just noises and blah 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 blah, so you just hold on. I'm like, okay, let me hold on. So I think he was a sweet guy when it came to being sweet, but
when he was nice, he was really
nice. Yeah. So I think a few of those things made me stay. Plus the fact that, you know, this notion, fight for what you love and stuff. Oh my god, I think I fought for what I love until I was like completely out of strength. So that is when I decided I just can't pull it up anymore.
Do you think from now, maybe where we stand, do you think what happens, how do I phrase it, mnaona hatuwaelewi, like your parents, is this something that you can talk to your big sister, to your big brother, to an auntie? Do you think they would understand what happens in the campus setting and the relationships and such things?
I think to some point there's a lot of misunderstanding, and there's also a very big gap, because you see, when I talk to someone like my mom during their days in campus, again it was like simple for them, you know. You go to campus, if this guy wants you and that's it, you guys actually can go home and that. Nowadays we've been put in a cocoon where talking about your personal stuff seems like it's a stupid thing, you know. Telling your mom you're heartbroken or this and this happened with a guy. First, they don't even listen. Most of the parents don't even listen. They're like, nilikutuma campus usome wanaume and blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, they don't realize they want us to grow up, you know. They want you to behave like a grown up when you're in campus, but they don't want you to indulge in grown up things, you know. So when you actually get such problems, I think most people fall into depression or stress because they don't have anyone to talk to. Mtu anaweza support, because you're not talking to a peer. Peers will like brush it off.
Nataka advice to na level yenye tu mko. Mko on the same
level. Ama they make you feel like you're being stupid for being hurt. You know. But heartbreak me, you know. So you end up hiding your pain, your struggles behind smiles, kwenda nje kunywa and all that, which is actually wrong. So I think for our parents it's hard. Much as I also have a good parent because I talked to her about it at that time. I think for most people it's hard, because that's our big brothers and big sisters, they're also in the same situations, you know, and they don't have people to look up to. So talking to someone at this point, especially family, could be tough. I think the only time they want you to talk to them is when you're asking them for money to buy stuff, to do projects. You know, they expect you to be having such a perfect life that your life only revolves around you, class, your grades and books, which is
alafu kugraduate anakuambia sasa ulete mtu unashindwa sasa huyo mtu nilikuwa nafanya nimtoe wapi nimalize ukigraduate unapewa paper zako ukipewa mtu.
I know, so it's hard on the parent side.
So you mentioned something about you'd want to open up but you don't feel like you've been given the safe space to talk about it. Yet from this angle, because I think we have like a 10-year gap.
Yeah,
so from this angle, sometimes we feel like you guys don't open up. Like I'm reaching out, I'm asking you, Ivy, nini mbaya? How are you doing? You seem sad. Is everything okay? But you're like, no, I'm okay. You just want to stay in your room. Then naona umechomoka umeenda na mabesto wako, umeenda wapi? Nimeenda tao. Umeenda wapi? Nimeenda classes. You come back. You're in your room. You do your duties. You're angry most of the time. So what's the problem? Because there's also that, because as much as we want to give you that safe space, if you don't open up, it will not work, because I'll get to a point where I start getting frustrated.
So I think when it gets to that point, you've had previous experiences of where you've opened up, and instead of getting help, you get attacks. Okay. So today I tell you this is what is bothering me, like nimekuwa na issue fulani and that, and then the next time you stressed, you use that as an attack on my end. Hata juzi, hata mnaindulge, you know. So instead of me having to bear that after I thought I was getting help, I prefer keeping it to myself, you know. Because for instance, maybe someone who went and had raw sex and they made a mistake and got pregnant, you know. Maybe yes, they decided to keep the pregnancy and came home with it. The parents will be mad at first, and then they're like, it's fine, you know, it shall happen. Then when you give birth to this child will always be a reference to your problems. Hata kama ungepata mtoto ukiwa campus, okay, wait. Oh, hata kama ungeenda kucheza na, you know. So your problems tend to be like what they use against you when they're feeling stressed. So instead of us going through that, I feel like I'd rather just keep to myself, find my own ways to cope with it. And that is what is leading most people into getting into bad company, doing drugs, having very weird patterns in life. Because I have a friend that just, when they're stressed, they just start cutting. They pick something sharp and cut their hands just to redirect the pain. Fine, we'll talk, but they'll never give you like 100% of what the issue is. Watakupatia like 10%, they're like, anyway, nitaisort. You see?
Meaning hajapewa enough safe space to feel comfortable to talk about it. And maybe being constantly shut down. Na pia unajua African parents atakwambia hizi vyombo zimejaa hapa kwa sink, ni ule kijana ulikuwa unasema, and you're like, how do those things relate?
You know, ama unashika kwa hiyo simu unakuja umetufuria,
ndio maana unaumwa na tumbo.
I mean,
they do not relate. So what I'm picking is that it's not something that starts immediately when you go to campus. Only that when you go to campus, your freedom yenye umekuwa crave comes. Comes. But what I'm getting is that maybe when you're getting into teenagehood, ile relationship, you know, like right now, my son is 7.5, so it's very comfortable for him to tell me, Mommy, I feel like this. This is what is happening. Kuna mtu class sijui alininyang'anya. He can talk about it. But now when you're negotiating into, you know, from teenagehood to young adults, sasa hapo ndio I think where tunapotea. I don't know the right word, but
we drift
in Swahili hapo ndio tunapoteza watoto wetu. That's when now maybe once when you said you had a boyfriend and then ukaambiwa wanaume watakuua, and those comments that African moms make.
Kwanza these comments are hiyo ni shetani, that's demonic, hiyo ni utoto. I'm like, okay, day in day out you're telling me unakuwa mkubwa, behave kama mtu mkubwa, but at the same time wewe unanitreat kama toddler, you know. So there is a disparity.
I've understood.
Unaona? You want me to be responsible for my actions, you want to be responsible for myself, but when I come in with an issue that needs me to be responsible, you start talking to me like a 3-year-old kid.
And maybe you want some direction, you want some input on it.
It doesn't add up. And that's why we have like a major conflict between this generation and our parents' generation, because at the end of the day, they're not allowing us to be who you're supposed to be. They want like they wanted to create mini them, you know, which won't work. The
version of themselves that never haikutokea, that never realized. Sasa wanataka
ikuwe ndani yako.
They are living vicariously through
which is actually wrong, because I don't want to be a lawyer, my dad want to be a lawyer, so if I'm not being a lawyer, you keep putting down my career because you know. So
it goes down even to choices.
Yes. And then it goes down to the point that you make a mistake, they're like, hata miaka yetu. Excuse me, you are not here in 2021. No, like on a serious note, this is something that we are missing, you know, because they want us to live the way they used to live in the 1960s. And you guys didn't have phones at 16, you know.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. Fine, you guys were at our age, but not in the same time, you know. It's fine, I will try and understand your point, but will you try and adjust to my world? Because this is a world filled with a lot of information.
Exposure.
You know. For instance, I have my own way of defining how I feel loved. For you, being loved is uchapwe, ukorektiwe, you know, ubayo nguo Christmas, you know. For me, it's I come home and they have a small win and you're like, yes, that's it. You're actually doing something. But for them, they want you to feel the love out of kila siku ni kelele, kila siku ni kukwambia vile you're not doing it right, you know. Actually, lakini hata nakwambia hivi ninakupenda. I mean,
so also expectations. I'm thinking also the expectations they've put very heavy expectations on their shoulders.
I think, like, for example, I have a friend that when she came to campus, that was like the end of her parents supporting her. They're like, umekuwa mtu mzima sasa ndio jitafutie and all.
Supporting her financially?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm looking at that friend of mine right now. Alichukua njia ya sponsors. Unaona, because for her it was hard. You have classes like from 8 to 6. You have assignments that load you.
Action.
So I have this friend. She came to campus, and that's like when her parents like cut her off. So this chick is depending on herself full time. So when she realized like hana support wazazi financially, she took the sponsor route. So for her right now, much as we'll try to judge her and tell her how bad it was, how wrong it was, she's living the life, you know. Hakuna kila kitu anahitaji, she gets food, she gets the luxury, you know. So I think like on the end of our parents pia, when they want us to be grown ups pia and they push it so fast, it leads you to a point in you find yourself walking into very bad doors. Unajipata ulingia kwa situation yenye you'd never have thought you'd be there. So I think pia for parents, they need to slow it down. Growing up is not an overnight thing. Plus pia unajua wazazi wenyewe wamezoea kudekeza watoto wao, and then all of a sudden they're like, ushakuwa mtu mkubwa. You know, these are the same parents when you're growing up, they want to make every decision for you. They want to make every choice for you. But now when you fika campus, they're like, I know you're out in the world, fanya mambo yako. But later on it comes back to them and they're like, where did we go wrong? They went wrong where they like let you go abruptly. Ama they were not even there to listen to what you're going through. So your part ya safe space is like, in African homes, it's not an existent theory. Not in most African homes. Plus I was having a conversation the other day with some people, and someone said we're trying to get safe spaces in spaces that are not our own. I mean, how am I supposed to not feel safe at home if this is where I'm supposed to be at home, you know? So if you can't feel at home when I'm at home, I'll find another home, which may not be the best option. So even if we're trying to justify the mistakes our parents have made in parenting, or trying to justify how we're going wrong, at the end of the day we need a balance, because everyone is their own person. You know, I can't have your mind, you can't function fully as a function. So it's a matter of everyone compromising and adjusting to kuja level ground.
Because some coping mechanisms are actually worse than what you're going through.
True. Yeah.
So I feel like we should have had a 45-year-old here like in between to bring the balance.
They should have listened to this, but anyway.
Yeah, but we're hoping we're going to get some feedback on it, and maybe we'll do a part 2 where now the parents, whether it's young parents or the older parents, will give their perspective on parenting from their angle and the tough times they have. But since today it's on you, we want to hear from you. What do you think, other than the safe space and maybe the parents listening?
Yeah, sure.
What do you think, what would you tell a parent out there who's parenting a 21-year-old, 19-year-old, 17-year-old, up to say 23-year-old?
So I think on my end, having a parent that has a kid at that age, I feel the first thing you should understand is that we're not the same person. So allow me to be my own person. That's one. Much as I will not even talk to you on a daily, I will not tell you my problems and all that. Just allow me to process my growth, you know, because at the end of the day, you need me to be a very good mother in future. You need me to be a very good father. You need me to be responsible. You need me to have a family. So if you don't allow me to like learn on my own, at times, you know, when you have that mistake, you make that mistake and it's on you, you literally go back and try to retrace your steps. So if you want to be always there, or you just absent completely, then you're not helping. Another thing is, I think this issue of generalizing is also another thing. Nyinyi vijana wa siku hizi, I mean, we can't be the same person, as I'm saying. I have a friend that has their own different way of living. That can't be me. And then comparing kids is another bad part.
Siblings?
Yeah. Even not even siblings alone.
Generally.
Yeah, generally. Unajua niliona mtoto nani alikuja akidrive juzi. I mean, relax. I'll get there, you know. Don't
also having pressure. We mwenyewe unajipea pressure because your peers wanafanya something.
And then something else our parents don't realize is that we actually have sleepless nights thinking of our future lives. You know,
ukiamka utaulizwa unaumwa na kichwa.
Actually, you know, they feel like kuwa na stress is absurd. But at the end of the day, I am looking at the life I'm living right now, and I don't want the same for my kids. I don't want to fail you people. So this pressure is also on me. Nimelala, the time I have my own time, nimekaa kwa kitanda, I'm like, I need to build a house by this age. I need to have a very stable family. For them, it feels like uko na stress ya nini na ukuna nini rent unalipa, house buy, chakula, you know.
You're right, yeah.
I mean, my life is moving on. It's not stagnating. So it doesn't mean that because I woke up moodless or I woke up feeling tired and I'm all goofy, it doesn't mean like I'm not respecting you, I don't feel like talking to you. At times it's just our thoughts, you know. Because at the end of the day, I mean, this life is a battle, and everyone has their own. The same way una battle your marriage issues, the same way I'm battling with your parenting issues at the same time, battling with my own thoughts, with my future. Even some comments made by people, and I'm like, hey Mazi, that was hard, you know. So at the end of the day, it's a matter of we just understand each other. Because by default, you're my parent, I'm your kid. No one wrote an application for anyone, so we just have to balance this. Because this is the age where you'd lose your kid for good. I remember there's a time I told my mom, the way you keep talking, you might end up losing instead of having me by your side. And she was so mad. What she didn't realize was I was actually telling her the truth. Because every time I come to you with an issue and you're like, nyinyi tamnajekelea mambo, who do you expect me to talk to? You know? So I get a friend and talk to them, and they're like, hata siku hizi uniambiangi mambo yako.
So what do you want?
What do you want?
What do you want from me?
I come talk to you and you're like, najekelea mambo. I don't talk to you, you're mad, I'm not talking to you, you know. So I think as much as we're being told by people ahead of us that we need to understand them, they're the ones who are rigid. I feel like it's a balance. Because the fact that you want to understand
ways, it's not only one party yet. Watoto tu ama watu wazima tu.
True. Because ni sawa nyinyi mlikuwa mnaibiwa kwa mtu mkienda kuolewa. You want me to bring a guy home, at the same time you don't tell you I'm dating. What do you want? You know, so
umeanza mambo mapema, unajua nyinyi hizi sikuwa najua hiyo mambo hiyo rika. The same people walikuwa wanarushiwa tumawe tu.
That's why you should say this, but most teenage moms are from the previous generation.
Yeah, a significant number,
you know.
By the way. Yeah.
We have siblings when we don't even know their fathers. Some we don't know their mothers, but I'm here trying to give you a snippet of my life, and you're like, no, unafanya, you know. I'm trying to show you I'm involving in my life. You don't want to get involved. Then I said, lie you, you're actually mad because I did that. Okay, like, give me a manual to this being a child part, you know, because at the end of the day, it's tough. It's tough, especially for young people. Because at the end, unaona pia tunaambiwa, you think you know what you want. Do you know what I want? Like, on a serious note, I'm really trying to work my life out, you know. Maybe I'm doing a career that no one in your family ventured into. So, hakuna mtu anaweza ni mentor, but you want me to take your advice from your career. You know, it's not workable. I'm doing journalism, you did teaching. These two things will never match, you know. I need a certain way of doing things, I need a certain way of dressing, I need a certain way of presenting myself. Unataka nijipresent vile wajipresent kwa class, it doesn't work, you know. For me, maybe whether you don't believe in makeup, you don't believe in putting on short dresses and all that, you're like, hata unataka kwa nyumba ukikaa sijui nini.
And you know, the name calling,
the name calling is actually bad. So I go sit somewhere and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to make a life for myself, but you're only seeing the negative part. So I think being positive with your kids at this age is very important, very important. Because trust me, our minds process a lot. I will sit with my friends and they're like, mimi hata mama wangu aliniambia, you're like, siko peke yangu. So instead of actually speaking it out, unajiconsole na tuko wengi. So it ends up bringing you down pole. At the end of the day unajipata you're in a place where huko unafikiria utafika. You want to do something, you're second thinking yourself. You want to dress a certain way, you're like, you're not even confident, okay? So
esteem
inaenda chini. So it's for them to boost our confidence, to believe in us, to support us. At the end of the day, matters they're there to guide us. We also need them to be our support system. Yeah.
And also I think hiyo wenye unasema kuhusu hiyo like they're very aggressive ama anakuwa mkali sana. I think maybe ni zile vitu zenye they've never been open to us. You know, there's something about hata kama si full disclosure, but when somebody discloses something, for example, if your mom tells you, you see your elder sister, nilimpata nikiwa actually form 2, I had to drop out and then go back to school. That's why you see me reacting like this when you tell me about a boy. So sometimes there are things you're venting to your parent, it's actually a trigger for them. So yaki kushautia hivyo, this is from where I'm sitting. Umeshika, but no now we understand hivyo because you're trying to figure out everything. Bado you're growing because a young adult bado kuna it's slightly post teen. So bado una grow So unapata maybe mama yako ni zile vitu zenye alipitia. Kama ni your dad, kuna vitu atatry kuexplainia sana. The way the dad used to explain to him, ama maybe sometimes unapatana kuna trauma ana carry from. So wewe akikukujia atakukujia na hiyo ukali. Kumbe ni the triggers zinamfanya reactive kwako. But sasa na wewe you're human and you know there's something. Mimi I'm 31, but do you know to my mom I'm still a child.
True.
So as you said, the balance. So I think also disclosure and honest and open communication can really go a long way. When your mom acts a certain way, you remember, Maze, she went through this. That's why when I mentioned that, I'll react like that.
I think it's a good one. When parents are open, at least you even get point ya kureason na yeye. You're like, she's afraid this will also happen to me.
And she wants the best for you. You understand.
You know, we understand our parents love us. But sasa, if I don't have somewhere to base that love, pain inakuanga hard. Because they don't understand why you'll be yelling at me all of a sudden for nothing.
But unanipenda, it's conflicting.
Yeah, it's a very big one. So when you have parents that talk, for me, I think I understand my mom a lot because we talk. She tells me a lot of things. So hata nikiona amereact a certain way, I know it's because probably she's afraid of the same thing happening. But on my end, I also assure her, I'm being careful, you know, because I mean, mom, you want me to bring your family at the end of the day, so this is a risk we are taking. So I know it happens to you that way, but just pray it doesn't happen the same way for me. And I think tunapatanga balance at some point. So I think if more parents were open and ready to listen, because pia wengi unajua you talk to them and they're like, unaona kwa mkubwa nini? Please don't
shut down. Kwa kakuni your story na maliza.
That's it.
Yeah. So I think it's brave of you to come and even give your example, because most people will want to talk about it from a general point of view.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping the parents who have watched this, hata si lazima ikuwe mtoto, unaweza kuwa ni grandparents, you could be an auntie, you could be a big sister, peers, so that at least we have an idea of what our children go through. Na hizi stages vile ni ngumu, unaona kama the way sisi ubembeleza watoto when they are teething and everything. Yeah. It's the same, only that this is a grown up who's teething in their own way. So we also should handle them with a lot of love and kindness also.
Sure.
Right?
The world is unkind.
Yeah.
So if we can't get love from home, we'll get it from some other dangerous place.
True.
Yeah.
Cutting short,
I think at the end of the day, we need to heal. Yeah, because either way we will have falls in life. You'll break an arm today, but you need to write and wash tomorrow. So we need to heal, we need to be open, because burying yourself in thoughts and coping mechanisms that are not good for your health, it's not the best option. Because being in a club from Monday to Monday, you're just killing yourself.
Or you're just postponing facing what you're supposed to face.
Walking away from reality is not the best thing again. Just face it. It might be hard, but it won't be hard for the rest of your life. But running away from it and seeing it every day in your dreams is the hardest part. So I think PRCC, as young people, we need to allow ourselves to heal. Don't feel ashamed for feeling, because we have very many people out here acting gangster. That is a lie, because everyone is human. We have our break points, we have our boiling points. So you're heartbroken, feel it, deal with it appropriately. You're happy, just feel it. Like we're not always happy.
Yeah, true.
We're not social media pictures, we are people.
Really
so you
people.
feel your emotions and be proud of who you are, because growth is not a smooth road.
True.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So as we wind up, there's something she said that's very important about healing. We are very big, especially as Africans, we're very big on, the trauma was passed down from my mother, from my grandma. We can also pass healing. The same way we talk about the traumas, about the curses, the negative patterns, we can also pass down good things. We can also pass down healing. We can also pass down good cycles. So thank you guys for watching. We're looking forward to your feedback. Like, share, subscribe.